Hello from New York, and welcome to the Music News at Noon on the Music Industry City Broadcast Network. This is where we look at the latest headlines in music, tech, and what's going on in the industry. We'll be starting the program in just a few moments, but first, some notes about today's program. Feel free to invite your friends to join in this show, and if you'd like to offer your thoughts on any of today's topics, you can request to join the stage and participate in the discussion, or comment in the chat in the video stream. You can find all of today's headlines on our website, musicindustrycity.com. Just head to the latest Music News at Noon post to see all the articles we referenced during today's broadcast. You can also register for free to get unlimited access to all the articles, news, and events in the city. And you may also watch us live on the video stream right from the website or on the Music Industry City YouTube channel. All right, is everybody ready? We begin our countdown right now.
Hello and welcome. It's great to have you with us on this Tuesday. I'm Peter Schwing, and here's what's happening. Exceleration music by Chicago indie label Bloodshot Records. Splice and SoundCloud join forces for artist development. Wu-Tang Clan getting their own game. How YouTube's discovery algorithm works. And All Day I Dream announces its inaugural festival. Those stories are coming up, but first, let's take a look at this day in music history. And this day, we honor those who have passed, those who were born, and some interesting tidbits. In 1991, legendary rock concert promoter Bill Graham was killed when the Bell 206B Jet Ranger helicopter he was riding in struck the top of a Pacific Gas and Electric transmission tower near Sears Point, northwest of Vallejo, and exploded. The crash left the helicopter's wreckage dangling near the top of the towering structure, killed Graham, his girlfriend, Melissa Gold, and pilot Stephen Kahn. Graham had founded the Fillmore Theaters in San Francisco and New York, and many, many other adventures. In 1999, American singer, songwriter, and actor Hoyt Axton died of a heart attack in Victor, Montana at the age of 61. He wrote songs for Elvis Presley, Three Dog Night, and which had this #1 song, Joy to the World. In 2019, American musician Paul Barrera died at the age of 71. He was a member of Little Feat, which he joined way back in 1972, in memory. Born on this day, 1951, Bootsy Collins. Yeah. And in 1952, as David was, the founder of the American 1980s pop group Was Not Was. And then in 1965, UK remixer producer Judge Jules. Haven't heard Judge Jules' name in a while. One of my favorite DJs of that era. 1967 brought us country music singer, songwriter, and guitarist Keith Urban. And in 1986, Schoolboy Q, also known as Quincy Matthews Hanley. This day in history, 2004, Apple launched the U2 Special Edition iPod as part of its partnership between Apple, U2, and Universal Music Group. The new U2 iPod held up to 5,000 songs and featured a red click wheel and custom engraving of U2 band members' signatures. The iPod was being introduced as the band released their new album, How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. Not to be confused with the other Apple U2 debacle where everybody woke up one morning, I think with the iPhone 6 around that time. Everybody woke up and was like, hey, what is this U2 album doing on my iPhone and how do I get rid of it? All right. In 2011, a coroner's inquest into the death of Amy Winehouse reached a verdict of misadventure. The report explained that Winehouse's blood alcohol content was 416 milligrams per deciliter at the time of her death, more than 5 times the legal drinking driving limit. According to the coroner, the unintended consequences of such potentially fatal levels was leading to her sudden death. And that is it for this day in history. To set the stage for a conversation, we provide informed perspectives and commentary on today's headlines. If you'd like to offer your thoughts on one of today's topics, you can request to join the stage. I'd also like to say hi to everyone viewing the show in our video live stream on our YouTube channel or directly from the musicindustrycity.com website. To stay up to date on this and other programming, you can sign up at musicindustrycity.com for more news, articles, and events. And with that, let's get to it. Right, and this one comes from Exceleration Music, from Independent Music Insider. This one is Exceleration Music strikes deal to acquire legendary Chicago indie label Bloodshot Records. All right, Exceleration Music, the global music enterprise created by top indie sector leaders Glenn Barrows, John Burke, Charles Caldas, and Amy Dietz, and Dave Hansen, has agreed to buy Bloodshot Records from Rob Miller and Nan Warshaw. Bloodshot formed in 1994 in Chicago's independent underground rock and punk movement, defining not just a big aspect of that city's subculture, but also paving a way for the roots-influenced indie acts. The label began by promoting artists who were breaking new territory. John Langford, the Waco Brothers, the Old 97s, and Necco Case, and more were some of the early acts to join the roster. The company is also known for its annual Bloodshot barbecue at Austin's Yard Dog Gallery during South by Southwest. Bloodshot has recently faced some challenges, though, resulting in irreconcilable disputes between the founders and uncertainty for the label's artists. Exceleration will take complete operational control of the label, including meeting all obligations to Bloodshot artists. And Exceleration also wants to revamp the Bloodshot's catalog, digital and physical availability. Bloodshot joins Acceleration's increasing list of investments and partnerships, including sister Chicago label Alligator Records, which is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. And with the Ray Charles Foundation, Exceleration just released the True Genius box set and digital campaign. Acceleration partner Dave Hansen commented, quote, Bloodshot is a vitally important part of American music history, a genre-defining label founded on passion and vision, dedicated to bringing a unique set of artists from its musical orbit to the world. It represents exactly the kind of company that fits Acceleration's founding ethos, which is to preserve and enhance the legacies of extraordinarily independent companies and artists. So it's not just these big headlines of other catalog acquisitions and other labels acquiring, the majors acquiring more and more in these $1 billion and $1 million and SPACs and publicly trading. The independent sector, they got it going on too. So good for them. Keep things going. All right. Splice. This is from Music Business Worldwide. Splice and SoundCloud join forces to launch artist development program Nova. This relationship begins with a series of contests throughout the Splice and SoundCloud communities. The winners of the first Nova contest will get to create their own Splice Sounds Pack. Splice will distribute 12 Nova Artist Packs in January 2022, and artists can enter the first contest today, October 26th. Selected Nova artists will have their music amplified on SoundCloud's distribution network, and the top 4 supernovas will get, quote, enhanced marketing and distribution services, including distribution support, investment, and amplification from SoundCloud on their next project, including $20,000 marketing spend. Splice and SoundCloud will choose the 4 winners. Additionally, a new artist in residence program at Splice features producer Kenny Beats. And earlier this month, Splice set up a strategic advisory board of artists, entrepreneurs, and music executives from around the world. Splice, which claims over 4 million users, closed a $55 million Series D investment sponsored by Goldman Sachs in February of 2021. Also, a $57.5 million Series C fundraising round in March 2019 brought Splice's total funding to over $155 million. And according to Splice, Chief Marketing Officer Maria Egan, quote, "We're opening the doors to our most talented users and leveraging our global producer community to amplify these creators. The power of our platform alongside this incredible partnership with SoundCloud will give artists a unique opportunity to kickstart their careers." If you want to check out the article, if you want to look at how to apply, you can go to musicindustrycity.com. You can click on today's Music Industry News at Noon post, and you'll be able to get to the headlines. And you can also watch us on the video stream. And if you're in the video stream, you can also type in the chat. So if anybody has some comments and you don't want to come up to the stage, you want to put something in the chat, you can just go right to the video, and we're going to see that. So give everybody a nice shout out there. All right, let's move on. Music Tech reports that Microsoft is working on a Wu-Tang Clan game with soundtrack written by the group. The game is said to be a collaboration between Xbox and entertainment studio Brassline Entertainment, which focuses on creating original fictional universes that center on Black, Brown, and other traditionally marginalized characters, cultures, and stories. Allegedly in early development, the game will be a melee combat-focused third-party fantasy RPG that combines Minecraft dungeon gameplay with the Wu-Tang fantasy setting. According to Corin, the game has an endgame focus with support for a 4-player co-op. Jez Corden also mentioned on his podcast that the game's universe and plot will be based on the Wu-Tang Clan lore and that the game's music will be written by the hip-hop group themselves. Xbox is reported to name the game Shaolin, though it is meant to be separate from the 1999 game Wu-Tang Shaolin Style, which received backlash and mixed reviews from both fans and the group themselves. All right, let's talk some electronic music here. All Day I Dream announces Inaugural Festival, and this is over on Billboard. And if anybody's ever been to one of these, I remember when they were first starting. They were small, they were intimate, so much fun. They kept growing and growing, and it's such a great event, and happy to see this happening. After hosting hundreds of parties in 38 locations around the world over the last 11 years, Larry Burridge's All Day I Dream party is expanding into festivals. The inaugural All Day I Dream Festival will happen May 12th through the 15th, 2022 at the Woodward Reservoir in Oakdale, California, located approximately 2 hours east of San Francisco. The location for this weekend-long camping event was selected for its proximity both to San Francisco and Los Angeles, both core hubs of the ADID community. Representative for the event notes that Lee loves this venue specifically, and of course California's weather makes it an ideal place for outdoor events, and the lineup for All Day I Dream Festival is forthcoming. Check out the website, stay in the know. All right, complete music update. So let's go ahead over to the UK. Leaked government report warns that COVID passports could drive up infections. So here's an interesting twist on having COVID compliance and mandates. According to leaked government research, requiring COVID-19 vaccine passports for specific clubs and events in England may potentially accelerate the transmission of the coronavirus, because avoiding areas where a vaccine passport is required may result in individuals going to pubs and bars with fewer precautions in place to combat the disease spread, it warns. Currently, clubs and some venues in Scotland and Wales are obliged to check the vaccine status of customers before granting admission. In Wales, those who have not been vaccinated can use a recent negative COVID test to gain entry instead. But the UK government abandoned plans to force the checking of vaccine passports at clubs and venues in England, instead leaving it to the individual businesses to decide whether to instigate such checks. Ministers are still considering making the checking of vaccine passports mandatory in England as part of the Plan B proposals for counteracting the spread of the virus over the winter months. This would mean that people would have to prove that they were fully vaccinated before attending certain venues and events, including indoor venues with 500 or more attendees, outdoor events with more than 4,000, and all nightclubs. So that's an interesting twist. I mean, you think about it, if you aren't vaccinated and you want to go to venue A and you can't get in, well, then you're just going to go to venue B where all the unvaccinated people are. And, well, there you go. Now you have this giant petri dish, an experiment in, what's going to happen when all the unvaccinated people get together while the vaccinated people are all more safely enjoying an event. So I'm sure there's going to be, they'll probably do some more studies on this. And if we hear anything else, we'll keep you updated. And this one also staying overseas. Mass cancellations at Hit the North Festival. Newcastle's Hit the North Festival is hit by mass cancellations due to the allegations leveled against promoter SSD concerts. Sports team Lang Noisy, the Go Express, and others were among to pull out of Saturday's multi-venue city festival, which was headlined by DMAs. Event organizer Cole Gilroy then launched a crowdsourcing drive to help cover the costs of the musicians that dropped out. It came after an independent inquiry into allegations of, quote, inappropriate behavior and bad business practices at SSD, which was disclosed last week. In a lengthy Facebook post, the promoter acknowledged it, quote, could and should have done better in terms of the latter complaint, but added that no evidence of racism, misogyny, or sexual misconduct was found against Managing Director Steve Davis. The report determined that employees' level of familiarity with Davis had blurred professional boundaries within the workspace. The allegations first came to light in the spring when they were posted on workplace review website Glassdoor and shared on the company's Instagram account after it was reportedly hacked by an ex-employee. In April, Davis announced his immediate resignation from the company's management. Company's house still lists him as a director, though. Goes on to say, quote, this has been a very sobering process to go through, says Davis. I haven't always got things right, and if this has affected anyone, I am sorry. I thank all the staff, past and present, for their honesty and feedback, which will help the business move forward. I'd like this to be a huge learning experience, and I am determined that within a short period of time, SSD is being recognized by others as being the fantastic, creative, safe, and happy place to work that it is now. All right. Going to shoot over to Australia for just a moment. As we see with different countries, support from the government, challenges that are going on. This is article, and it goes really in depth here. So if you want to check that out, head over to musicindustrycity.com, click on today's Music Industry News at Noon post, and you can see the headline. We'll just cover a couple of points here. This is after a $1.4 billion COVID blowout, LiveBiz now looks at future-proofing itself. With return to action and the new normal constantly moving targets, Live Performance Australia, LPA, released a gloomy 2019 and 2020 ticket attendance and revenue report last Thursday. Contemporary music remained the most popular genre, accounting for over 50% of live performance revenue at $309 million and 37% of attendance, which was nearly $3 million. Between 2019 and 2020, it lost 63% of its revenue and 65% of its attendees. Contemporary music accounted for 60% of industry income and 43% of attendance. They go on to say that live entertainment lost $1.4 billion in sales in 2020, with ticketing statistics suggesting a near 70% decline in revenue and attendance after the LPA stopped down in mid-March. So they go on to say they're arguing that it requires an insurance program to underwrite an investment risk and a tailored business reactivation package to ensure it can retain capacity to operate when broader venue capacity and operational constraints are relaxed. So this includes production and technical experts, enterprises, stagehands, riggers, video, lighting, sound specialists. And when they looked at this, they made other recommendations as part of a $345 million rebuild strategy. So there's an Australian Recovery Fund. The proposal also includes digital and technological innovation, an extra $70 million for the Australian Council, and $55 million See It Live home e-vouchers and travel incentives to lure overseas visitors. So the federal government has also recently confirmed fresh funding for projects to start as early as November, and they said 99 venues shared in $2.5 million of the $20 million Live Music Australia program. Most plan to use it on upgrading lighting and sound gear, and experts say that the venue of the future will move more outside, including merch stands, food, drink stalls, and toilets. So this is going to be an interesting change of the landscape. That's what, wanted to get across here is like, if you're in these areas that, the climate allows for year-round and outside, we're going to start seeing more of that. Unfortunately, when you have, some place that like celebrate, summer and spring for 2-3 months out of the year, and then it's freezing for the rest of the year, it's a little more of a challenge. But, I think we're going to start seeing these changes overall, how venues operate. There's going to be these changes, and, we'll see what happens. All right. And then we go over to YouTube. We're going to wrap up with some YouTube tips here. For anybody that is a YouTuber or anybody putting out a music video or creates content, shorts, things like that, here's a little update on their algorithm or algorithms. And this is from Music 3.0. And this is based on a video that YouTube put out from their creators platform. And if you are on YouTube, I suggest checking out their Creator Inside channel. They really do a great job of helping you to understand how YouTube operates, some best practices and tips. So we're going to give you 5 tips here. First question was, does sharing your videos outside of YouTube help discovery on the platform? And then according to the video, quote, if your videos are getting more traffic from external sources like social media, it's likely increasing your potential to be discovered by more viewers. Another benefit is that those viewers now have that video in their watch history, so there's a higher likelihood that they may be recommended one of your videos in the future. Second question was, why do people get recommendations for videos that might be 10 or 12 years old instead of new ones? Oh, yeah, I pulled some of those up. Like, why am I watching this? Well, here, YouTube says they don't care necessarily about the age of the video as much as the type of content it provides, which means that if you're searching for something on a specific subject or artist or genre of music, and an older video might provide you with what you need, it's going to serve it up as a recommendation. This is way different from the other platforms, which emphasize new posts over old. So it's good to have catalog. As if you are a creator, it's good to have catalog. This is why it's important, and that's why a part of it is also, if you're creating a video for a song release, you can have multiple videos. You can have teasers. You can have a how-to, how I did the recording, so adding all that content creates your catalog, and it gives it more opportunities for YouTube to put it up into one of their algorithms. 3, is there a way for YouTube to highlight new creators? And the YouTube says they are aware of this and recently rolled out its New to You tab that shows more channels outside the regular viewer experience. This will allow the viewer to explore a list of videos that normally wouldn't show up as a recommendation, but still might be relevant to the user. So this is good if you're a YouTube viewer as well, to discover. I know many times, sometimes it's like I'll watch one video on YouTube, and then next thing I know, all my suggestions are that topic. I'm like, no, I was just interested in this one thing. I don't need to spend the rest of my life trying to get this topic out of my feed now. So it's like, hey, I see. It's like Amazon. It's like, hey, I see you bought this, this laptop. Would you like to buy another laptop? How about this laptop? It kind of gets a little annoying. All right, how important are tags for YouTube discovery? And this is the final 2. The video goes on to say that tags are descriptive keywords you can add to your video to help viewers find your content. Your video's title, thumbnail, and description are more important pieces of metadata for your video's discovery. These main pieces of information help viewers decide which videos to watch. So yes, they says make sure that your title, make sure your description, you have those words in there. You can then add tags. You can also add hashtags into the description, so it'll show up as a sub. It'll be under the title. So it's really important to add those. So as much information that you can put in to help the algorithms find and for a user to find your content. And finally, did YouTube recently change its algorithm? And it's always about an algorithm. The Instagram, these platforms don't have one single algorithm that runs everything. It's multiple algorithms. So, and they're always constantly tweaking their algorithms. There's usually not a major shift that isn't announced. So when there is a major update, like Instagram announced an update a while ago, YouTube's pretty good. So that's why the Creator Inside channel is good to follow and just pay attention to. And the reason why people see changes in user data is more because of the time of year, they say. So, when it gets back to school or something like that. So there are different, again, the algorithms have different parameters they go by. So it could be changing with the seasons as well. And again, the Creator Inside channel, and there is a link in this article. And if you want to get to the article, you can go over to musicindustrycity.com, click on today's music industry news at noon. And that's it for the reads. If anybody had some thoughts, wants to come on up, or anybody had some comments in the chat, I want to say hi again to everybody that is tuning in our video feed. And if you want to come up to the stage, raise your hand. I'll just put a couple minutes on the clock. And with that being said, we have a lot going on next week. Just a quick update next week. And if you received our email, because you are registered at musicindustrycity.com. So if you received our email today, you know that next week we will be off, that I will actually be at NFT.NYC in New York City. So if anybody is going to be there, let me know. Hit me up. Love to meet up with some of you. And that's going to be it. So let's wrap up with some final thoughts. And basically, it's today is just about social media. Oh, Benjamin, let me bring Benjamin up before we wrap up. Benjamin, get you on up here. What's the good word? What's your thoughts?
You should do NFT NYC if you get any like amazing stuff that like, oh my God, I have to share this. You should go live.
Yeah, well, the problem is I'm stage managing. I'm actually running there's 3 venues. I mean, there's 600 speakers, so I'm stage managing. So it's going to be tough for me to go live. I'll try. Maybe I have to get permission to be like, I'll be side of the stage. I'll be like, maybe I could just interview some of the speakers like, hey, what are you going to talk about? What are you going to talk about? So everybody in Clubhouse can get a sneak preview of what's to come.
Or put some or save some interviews and put them up later on your stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's since I work closely with NFT.NYC, I've been with them since it was like the first NFT conference. And so I've been with them at the beginning. They're going to be posting all that up, but I can be able to share that. We're going to put there is a lot of talk on music at NFT.NYC. So maybe I could also share that in musicindustrycity.com. Once they post things up, I'll find out and we could help syndicate that. So there's going to be a lot of great information there. So I'm looking forward to it. Right on. Thanks, Ben. All right, with that, I think we're going to wrap up. And that does it for the Music Industry News at Noon on this Thursday from New York. We will see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. I'm Peter Schwing, and have a rockin' day.